Hello students, I am Dr. Sangeeta Singh from JDV Government Girls College Kota. I am going to teach you General English for BSc Part 1. We are studying the second chapter, Baron Bhomik's ailment. This is the third part of the story. In the last video, we had seen that Baron remembered all what had happened in the last journey with that stranger in the compartment of the train. Baron is in a dilemma whether the stranger had recognized him. He is thinking about his own appearance and the changes in it in the last 9 years. Read out the next slides containing the story parts. He had gained a lot of weight, so presumably his face now looked fuller than it had before. He did not wear glasses in those days. Now he did, and his moustaches had gone. When did he shave them off? Oh, yes, not very long ago. He had gone to a salon on Hazra Road. The barber was both young and inexperienced. He failed to get the symmetry right while trimming the moustaches. Baron himself did not notice it at first, but when everyone in his in this first slide, Baron is remembering how his look was changed over the last 9 years. He is remembering an incident with a barber. Office from the chatty old liftman Sukhdev to the 62-year-old cashier Keshav Babu began commenting on it. He shaved his precious moustaches off totally. This had happened about 4 years ago. So he had lost the moustaches but gained a bit of flesh on his cheeks and acquired a pair of glasses. Feeling a little reassured, he returned to his carriage. A bearer came in with a pot of tea and placed it in front of C. Baron too felt the need for a drink, but he did not dare speak to the bearer. What if she recognized his voice? In this slide, we see that Baron's moustaches were trimmed imbalancedly by the barber, so he removed them permanently. He feels relieved by this thought, but again thinks if she had recognized him by voice. Next slide. Baron did not want even to think about what she might do him if he got recognized. But of course, everything depended on the kind of man she was. If he was anything like Animesh Da, Baron had nothing to fear. Once in a bus, Animesh Da realized someone was trying to pick his pocket. But he was too shy to raise a hue and cry, so he practically gave away his wallet to the pickpocket together with 4 crisp 10 rupee notes. He told his family afterwards, a big scene in a crowded bus with me playing a prominent role in it. No, I could not allow that to happen. Was this man a bit like that? Probably not. People like Animeshta were hard to come by. Besides, his looks were not very reassuring. In this slide, we see that Baron remembers people like Animeshda who are so shy as to leave such culprits as pickpockets. He thinks if she, means Pulak Chakravarti, was like Animesh Da, it's okay. But then again, he thinks such people are very rare these days. Next slide. Everything about him. Besides, his looks were not very reassuring. Everything about him, those bushy eyebrows, the blunt nose, and that chin that jutted out, seemed to suggest that he would not hesitate at all to plant his hairy hands on Barin's throat and say, "Are you not the same man who stole my clock in 1964? Scoundrel, I have spent these 9 years looking for you. Today I shall." Barin dared not think any more. Even in this air conditioned compartment, there were beads of perspiration on his forehead. He stretched himself out on his berth and covered his eyes with his left arm. It was one's eyes that gave one away. In fact, she had seemed familiar only because Barin recognized the look in his eyes. He imagines, in this slide we see that he imagines she attacking him for stealing his Swiss clock. He is nervous due to this thought and lies down on the berth, covering his eyes with his arm. Next slide. He could now recall every incident vividly. It was not just the matter of stealing C's clock. He could remember every little thing he had stolen in his life ever since his boyhood. Some were totally insignificant things like a ballpoint pen, Mukul Mama's, or a cheap magnifying glass, or a pair of bone cuff links that belonged to Cheney Da and which Barin did not need at all. He never wore them even once. The only reason he stole these, and for the matter, all those the other things, was that they were near at hand and they belonged to someone else. Between the ages of 12 and 25, Baron Bhomik had removed at least 50 different things from various people and made a collection in his house. What could one call it but stealing? The only difference between him and a regular thief was that a thief stole to survive in life. Baron did it out of habit. Nobody ever suspected him. He had, therefore, never been caught. Barin knew that this habit, this strange compulsion to steal things, was a kind. In these two slides, he recalls his mental illness, that is, his habit of stealing. He stole things out of habit, and neither he was suspected nor caught. So, this was the description of his mental illness. Now, I will read out this next slide of illness. Once he had even learned the medical term for it from one of his friends who was a doctor, but now he could not remember what it was. But C's clock was the last thing he had stolen. In the last 9 years, he had never experienced that sudden, strong urge. He knew he had got over his illness and was now totally cured. The difference between stealing C's clock and all the other petty thefts he had indulged in was that he had really wanted that clock. It was a beautiful traveling clock made in Switzerland. It lay in a blue square box and stood upright the moment the lid was lifted. It was an alarm clock, and the sound of the alarm was so sweet that it was a pleasure to wake up to it. Barin had used that clock consistently over these 9 years. He took it with him wherever he went. He took it with him wherever he went. Even today, the clock was resting within the depths of the bag kept on the table. How far are you going? How far are you going? Barin gave a violent start. The other man was actually speaking to him. Delhi. Pardon? Delhi. So, in these slides, we see that just when he was thinking about that good quality clock, Pulak Chakravarti asked him where he was going. Next slide. So softly that the man had clearly not heard him. Do you find it a bit too cold in here? Is that what's suffering you? Your voice? Is that what's affecting your voice? No, it can happen, of course. Actually, I would have preferred going by ordinary first class if it hadn't been for the dust. Barin did not utter a word. He did not want to look at sea, but his own curiosity forced him to cast frequent glances in C's direction. Was she showing signs of recognition? No. He appeared quite relaxed. Could he be pretending? But there was no way of being sure. After all, Beryl did not know him well. All he had learned the last time. In this slide, we see when the conversation between the other passenger, means Pulak Chakravarti, and him had started, Barin wondered whether she had started showing signs of recognition. About his fellow passengers was that he liked having black tea and that he was wont to get down at every station to buy snacks. Thanks to this habit, Barin had had the chance to eat a lot of tasty stuff. Apart from this, Barin had seen one other side to C's character just as they were about to reach Patna. This was directly related to this incident involving the clock. They had been travelling by the Amritsar mail. I repeat, they had been travelling by the Amritsar mail. It was supposed to reach Patna at 5 a.m. The conductor came and woke Barin at 4:30. C too was half awake, although he was going up to Delhi. Just about 3 minutes before the train was to reach Patna, it suddenly screeched to a halt. What could be the reason? So, when Patna station was just 3 minutes away, the train suddenly stopped. Now we will have question answers part as usual. Question number 1. Why, according to Barin's guess, she might have not recognized him? Answer: because of his changed appearance. Question number 2. What two things were added to Barin's physical appearance in the past 9 years? Answer: a bit of flesh on cheeks and his glasses. Question number 3. What did the barber do with Barin's moustache? Answer: he trimmed them imbalancedly. Question number 4. Why didn't Barin dare to speak for a drink to the bearer? Answer: because he might recognize him by voice. Question number 5. What did Animesh Da do to the pickpocket? Answer: he let him steal his wallet. Question number 6. People like Animesh Da work hard to come by. What is meant by come by here? Answer: very rare to come across or very hard to meet. Question number 7. Why were there beads of perspiration on Barin's forehead even in that air-conditioned compartment? Barin imagined C attacking over him for the theft. Means he was afraid. Question number 8. Why did Barin cover his eyes with his left arm while he was lying? Answer. He didn't want she to look into his eyes. Question number 9. Mention any two things Barin had stolen in his boyhood. Answer. Ballpoint pen and cufflinks. Question number 10. What reasons does the author tell us about Barin's stealing habit? Barin stole out of habit as they were near and belonged to someone else. Question number 11. Approximately how many things were stolen by Barin by the age of 25? Answer 50. Question number 12. According to the author, what is the difference between a thief and Barin? Answer. Thieves stole for need, Barin out of habit or mental illness. So these were the questions and answers, and tomorrow we will have more text